Prepare for an unforgettable night at the San Francisco Symphony. Karina Kanalakis conducts Prokofiev and Sibelius November 6th through 8th. Prokofiev's dazzling third piano concerto crackles with brilliance and drive, while Sibelius transforms myth and nature into a sweeping musical vision. From the energy of Prokofiev to the beauty of Sibelius, this program showcases orchestral music at its most thrilling. Experience Karina Kanalakis conducting Prokofiev and Sibelius November 6th through 8th. Tickets at sfsymphony.org.
And now it's time for No Pucks Given with Dan Kingerski of Pittsburgh Hockey Now. Penguin Scoops locker room buzz and straight-up analysis. No fluff, all hockey. Now, here's Dan.
Alrighty, it is No Pucks Given, episode, I think, 37. I am Dan Kingerski on the Pittsburgh Hockey Now platforms. You can see this on YouTube. I think I'm recording the video a little bit of a different way this week. Technical constraints here at the hotel. Also, on all of the Odyssey podcast platforms. That's Apple, that's Amazon, that's Spotify. Wherever you get your podcast, there I will be. So do me a favor and set those downloads so that when I drop this insanity, brilliance, craziness, inane, witless blather, you may download it immediately. You can delete it. I don't care. Let's talk about some things, or actually let's talk about what we're going to do on this show. And you can actually see, those of you on the video side, that is not downtown Toronto over my shoulder. That is, in fact, the Pearson Airport in Toronto. And I'm staying at the casino close to the airport because about a month ago, and I hadn't booked my Toronto hotel. I mean, I usually wait to see what kind of deals are going to happen. I didn't realize that Blue Jays fever had already gripped the city. And I kid you not, even my tiny little crappy hotel that I rather enjoy, that's actually a blues club downstairs, was $500 a night. The other places I stay, like right close to the arena, which are maybe $150 a night, kind of like those apartments and such, they were going for $2,000 and $3,000 a night because people were expecting Game 7. They were expecting a parade, and they were just making sure. So when I booked, budget was the better part of valor. Here's what we're going to talk about on this here little podcast. We're going to talk about the rookies. At any one point, the Penguins actually have 6 rookies in the lineup. Now, we're going to set aside Arturs Shilovs, the Artie party. Being a goaltender, I think that's an entirely different issue. I also think I don't really consider him a rookie. When you've had that kind of playoff run that he's had, and a couple of shots at the NHL, I just don't see him as a rookie, but he does, by the very definition, qualify. So at any one point, there are 6. But we're going to talk about Ben Kindle, Harrison Brunick, Philip Hollander, Ville Koivunen, and Owen Pickering. We're also going to chat about what went right during that 8-game points streak, and that sort of dovetails into Dan Muse. What's different under Dan Muse, the system, the atmosphere, and all of that sort of comes into play as we talk about that. We're also going to talk about, there's an issue, and I spent the last week talking to several players. Erik Karlsson, he and I really had kind of a good chat about that. I caught him on the right day, and he was pretty talkative, and Erik Karlsson has this disarming honesty, kind of like, your grandmother telling you you're dumb, your cousins are ugly, just, there it is, who cares? And he just sort of says things without a care. He sort of explained the issue we're going to talk about, how they've been outshot and well outshot sometimes. I talked to Dan Muse about it, asked Parker Wotherspoon and Ryan Shea and and some others as well. I wanted really the defenseman's perspective on it. So we're going to talk about that, the killer instinct and the rookies, and even a little bit about this here road trip. I kid you not, as we record this Sunday evening, I've been in 5 cities in 7 days. It's getting a little... I feel like I've been on the road for 2 or 3 years straight. I mean, when I make a cup of coffee at home, I leave a tip. I come home at night and like, why isn't my bed made? What the hell? And then I remember that it's actually my bed. So it's a little bit of isolation. It's a bit isolating. Like for dinner tonight, I'm staying at a casino, so I wander downstairs. I had my pick of restaurants, and you sit there quietly. You kind of get a little corner booth and enjoy yourself. But it's not for everybody. Fortunately, I was kind of born to do this. Let's get into the rookies, shall we? And I will not have the ability to put up any pictures since I'm recording this in QuickTime. So let's just imagine Harrison Brunick. If he plays on Monday night, and I don't yet know if he will. I suspect he will. I think they want to get him a run of games now, or make their decision. Because here's how it all shakes down. Because they can keep him past 9 games, and they can still send him back to juniors. Yes, they can do that. I think it's a 40-game cutoff. Remember how they did that to Daniel Sprong. They delayed, and they sent him back to juniors in like December or something. They could do that to Harrison Brunick as well. They could scratch him and delay, and then eventually send him to Team Canada for the World Juniors. So they'll have at least given him sort of a half season of very high-level play. Now, before we get into Brunick's play and that decision, I need you all to understand a little something first, because it has almost become cliche that, he can't learn anything in juniors, so there's no point whatsoever to sending him back to junior hockey. The first part might be true, that he really can't learn a whole lot more down, in the WHL. But that's not to say there wouldn't be benefits. Understand how difficult it is to be a 19-year-old defenseman in the NHL. Just think of the 100 decisions a defenseman has to make on any given shift. He has to know which hand to hold the stick with. Do I confront this guy? Do I back up? How far do I back up? Do I step forward to play the puck? Do I skate with it? Do I move it quickly? Do I go to the post? Do I battle? Do I take away the passing lane? There's just... And in that just never-ending sort of mental grind, you're actually playing hockey through that, and it can be overwhelming. So, what can he learn in juniors? Well, nothing. But understand, he can also have his confidence shattered. He can feel stomped if this isn't the right decision. If they keep him in the NHL and he struggles and keeps struggling, well, there's no benefit to that either. In fact, there is a harm to that. So understand, this is a big decision. It doesn't necessarily need to be made at the 9 games. I mean, it's not like they lose him if they play him for 20 games and send him back to juniors. What happens? They enact the first year of his entry-level contract. All right. So that means in 2 years, they will owe him a new contract. Big whoop. They're going to give it to him anyway. And in fact, there actually might be a benefit in 2 years because he hasn't fully developed yet, and you're giving that guy kind of a bridge deal. Or you're able to get him on a little bit of a bargain. So don't, I've been guilty of this too, and please don't take that as this is a lecture on the 9-game part anyway. I think everybody kind of gets caught on that 9-game deadline. But it's not hard and fast. They can keep him past 9 games and still send him back down. Daniel Sprong, back in 2015, they futzed around and kept him into December, I think it was, before sending him back down. Everyone's like, oh, well, you burned a year of his entry-level contract. Oh, that was terrible. In reality, did it cost the Penguins anything? No. Did it cost the player anything? No. So credit to the person in the organization who kind of alerted me to that potential. That if he does go back to juniors, I mean, first of all, he might not have a whole lot to learn, but it would protect him. And 2, he doesn't have to go back to juniors right away. He can, kind of kick around and maybe they give him, a 5-game run or 10-game run, whatever it might be. Now, to his play, that's sort of the that's the rough part. Because you saw in the first 3 minutes against the Winnipeg Jets, he and Owen Pickering, a pair of rookie defensemen, are -2. Boom, boom. I talked with Harrison after the game. He and I just had a one-on-one chat, and he was kicking himself. Make no mistake, he was upset with himself for both goals, actually. And I said to him, well, I mean, come on, the first goal was just kind of bad luck, right? That was bad luck for everybody. It happens. He's like, well, no, we have to defend the goal line better. We have to be better. That can't happen. That shot can't happen. Like, okay, fair enough. I tend to disagree. I mean, I've seen Sidney Crosby do that to goaltenders for 20 years. So from that standpoint, I wasn't going to argue with him, but I understood his frustration. The second goal was, in fact, a good bit on him because the Jets go wide down the left flank, Brunick's side. They get behind him. And now he's got the choice. He gave the puck way too much space. They get behind him. He kind of lets Brad Lambert chip him and sort of muscle past. So when the puck swings around the net, and I forget who passed it to Brad Lambert. Please forgive me. Lambert goes to the back post right through Brunick. So now Lambert has position on Brunick. And it was an easy tap-in at that point. So, I mean, he rightly is looking at his 2 big mistakes on the play, not playing a tighter gap and nullifying the play. Maybe 3 mistakes. Letting Lambert get through him, and then letting Lambert tap it in so easily at the back post. Artie Shelofs, I thought, played it poorly as well, because his shoulders were largely parallel to the crossbar instead of squared to the puck. If Shelofs turns, kind of fronts the puck, I don't think that pass gets through because that pass was deep through the crease. I mean, that was a foot, 2 feet from the goal line. I don't know how nobody broke it up. And Pickering as well needed to be on the far post to disrupt that. But instead, Pickering kind of took the front position point on the crease, which gave the puck carrier all kinds of time and space. I think Pickering was kicking himself a little bit for that play too. After that, Coach Dan Muse breaks up the rookie pairing. He puts Pickering with Chris Letang. He puts Brunick with Ryan Shea. And in talking with Brunick after the game, he was kicking himself. But I think maybe the reason that there's still a good chance that he sticks around after game.
Prepare for an unforgettable night at the San Francisco Symphony. Karina Kanalakis conducts Prokofiev and Sibelius November 6th through 8th. Prokofiev's dazzling third piano concerto crackles with brilliance and drive, while Sibelius transforms myth and nature into a sweeping musical vision. From the energy of Prokofiev to the beauty of Sibelius, this program showcases orchestral music at its most thrilling. Experience Karina Kanalakis conducting Prokofiev and Sibelius November 6th through 8th. Tickets at sfsymphony.org.
9 is he was heartened by how he played the rest of the game. He really felt like he got back, he got in a rhythm, and he actually played some decent hockey for the next 57 minutes. Now, it's hard to overcome a -2 3 minutes into the game. But he felt like he learned from that, he contributed. And make no mistake, Muse is watching video with him. They're going over things. I mean, Brunick is getting the first-class treatment from the organization. And he even mentioned that, like how great everybody's been, sitting down with him and really kind of not force-feeding him, kind of spoon-feeding him as much as he can handle. It is a process. There's no question he's good. The question is, should he be back in junior hockey? And I think after Saturday, I think the meter went from 60-40 going back to maybe 60-40 staying. It's still a volatile. It's a volatile meter. What can I tell you? Let's get to Owen Pickering now, because Pickering is an entirely different sort of situation. Is a guy who played 25 games in the NHL last year. He got a really quick hook. Part of his quick hook was, what's the right word? And I don't want to overstate it, but I don't want to understate it. I mean, there was haircut gate. I mean, the social media, everyone's like, oh, look how great that is. Sidney Crosby takes Owen Pickering for a haircut. The reality was Sidney Crosby was sort of solving an internal problem. And that was there were some guys giving Pickering the business. They were on him. They were on him pretty good. And for some reason, his hair became sort of a point of emphasis or contention before the close-cropped haircut. But, is friction the right word? To what degree I never quite got the full story. I certainly have some suspicions and I have some beliefs, but that's all they are. They are not knowledge. So I really don't want to dive too deep into them. But, he goes through a little bit of crap. He gets sent down back to Wilkes-Barre. He comes into training camp. He was fine. Not good, not bad. He was fine. He made 0 mistakes. And that seems to be the very thing that Owen Pickering is trying to do now. After all he's been through, the quick hook last year, sort of the rookie razzing or whatnot, the demotion in training camp, which may or may not be deserved. You can argue either way. So here is a guy who is really tentative. His average shift length is actually getting shorter. I wrote about it several days ago that he got 21 shifts in Minnesota, the same as everybody else, actually a couple more than some of the other defensemen. Yet his ice time was under 14 minutes. It was like 13:32, 13:23. Yeah, 13:23. Despite 21 shifts, because his average ice time was only 38 seconds. So I kind of talked to some people, and I watched closely. No, the coaches are not calling him over to end his shift in 30 seconds. That is a player afraid to make a mistake. That is a player playing way too cautiously. It's understandable given everything that he's been through. That's why I brought everything up. But he also has to assert himself. At some point, he has to say, to hell with it. I'm playing. and he has to bring his A game, or he's going to get caught in this sort of ocean current, washing him up and taking him out. He's going to get caught, he's going to get rolled, actually, is what's going to happen if he doesn't assert himself. I thought he played really well in Minnesota. I lost track of the number of little nullifications, the interruptions, the poke checks, the, kind of rubbing the defender out on the wall. Just, using it, or the forwards, separating forward from puck, little touch play, boom, it goes. And yet that doesn't show up on the score sheet. He did that, no less than half a dozen times. But he still was just jumping off the ice as quickly as he could. And he's going to have to start playing hockey and trusting himself. So I don't know Owen Pickering's longer future. If he continues to throw himself off the ice, you very well could see Ryan Graves brought up. And they have one of those, another tough conversation with Pickering, like, dude, you need to be better. They wouldn't be wrong. I don't know that they'd be entirely right, but they wouldn't be wrong. And that is the I guess the fundamental thing for all of us in life, right? When someone's making a decision about you and you don't force them to give you what you want because you are indispensable, invaluable, playing too well, doing too well, you leave it up to judgments. And that's kind of where Pickering is right now. Caleb Jones is out for another, 7 weeks? Rough math. 6-7 weeks. So Pickering has some runway. But you'll notice Pittsburgh Hockey Now had the report a bit more than a week ago now that the Penguins indeed kicked tires. Kyle Dubas made some calls on some spare part left-handed defensemen. He was out there, seeing what he could get. He wasn't offering a whole lot from what we understand. He wasn't, throwing around second, third round picks, and he wasn't going after established guys who are in the NHL, but rather looking at some of those, like Eric Gustafsson in Detroit, who was waived at the end of camp to his great surprise. Gustafsson, 33 years old, has over 500 NHL games, always kind of an offensive defenseman, has had some real spurts in his career, but now in the AHL. And from what we understand, what sources admitted to us, that, the Penguins kicked the tires. Obviously, one of the Penguins or Detroit didn't like the negotiations, and it didn't happen. Pickering gets called up a day or two later. That's not exactly building up the confidence or showing that the organization has a lot of confidence in him. Let's talk about Philip Hollander. Top line duty. Really hasn't played poorly. Not even a little bit. No mistakes. He's done some good things. He's pretty good on the wall. But he hasn't really made an impact yet, has he? How many games has it been? He had some good pokes in Winnipeg. He had that great chance against Minnesota. Oh, did Sidney Crosby serve one up to him on Thursday night? Crosby, down close to the goal line, just snaps a pass to Hollander in the slot. Hollander makes a good shot. At first, you think, Hollander didn't lift the puck. Then you look at the replay. He got the puck 3-4 feet off the ice. That was a good wrister. And Philip Gustafsson diving to his right, cleared. He goes full horizontal, stretched out. And because he dove to his right, his glove hand is the top hand, and is able to get his glove on the shot. Hollander had a couple pokes at Eric Comrie as well. And, rebounds in the crease, and right there, couldn't poke them home. I count those as good things to a point. I count these wall battles that he wins good. He does have to do a little bit more to maintain top-line duty. Otherwise, he becomes a very Dominic Simone type player. that you all just went bananas against. Even though it seemed like Dominic Simone, wherever Simone went, good things happened. He just wasn't on the score sheet to celebrate for himself. Right now, anyway, in this very specific moment, I see Hollander in that same mold. Now, Hollander can continue growing, gain some confidence. He has to play with the puck more. He has to hold it onto his stick. He has to let the play develop. And he's got some good playmaking ability. He can't and he shouldn't treat it like a hot potato, which he sometimes does. I get it. I mean, you're back in North America for the first time. You're playing with Sidney Crosby and Brian Rust, and they've got their own shorthand language. And there's a temptation for every player who joins that line, not named Rickard Rakell, to get the puck and give it back to them. Get the puck, get it back to get the puck to those guys and let them do their thing. I think Hollander has to, get a little more confident as well. But there has been absolutely zero negatives to Hollander's game so far. Ville Koivunen, on the other hand, really he's had 3 straight good third periods. However, unfortunately for him, he's had 3 straight mediocre first 40 minutes. In the third period, he's playing with the puck, he's pulling it back, he's holding it, he's looking, he's, the play. Koivunen has that ability to, his head is up, he's got the puck, and the play just sort of seems to begin to melt around him. And he can do things with the puck. He knows where to put it and knows where to go. You start to see that, but only in the third period. In the first couple of periods, he's sort of chasing his tail a little bit. He's moving the puck too quickly, and he's not playing his best game. Now, having said that, as I bring in the other rookie that the Penguins are icing, Ben Kindle in the third line, despite getting, I think the team got spanked by Winnipeg on Saturday. That third line, whether it was Hollander, Kindle, and Koivunen, or Novak, Kindle, and Koivunen, I think those 2 lines combined to allow 1 shot on goal. No scoring chances, no high danger chances, and all the shots, all the scoring chances were theirs. I don't necessarily think there were a lot of dangerous chances, and I don't think they spent enough time in the offensive zone, but they had those quick strikes, those bursts where they were dangerous, especially the Hollander, Kindle, Koivunen combo. The Hollander, Kindle, Koivunen combo. Say that 5 times fast. So from that standpoint, Ben Kindle is a bit quiet, but he's just doing everything right. You notice he hasn't been scratched the last few games. Technically, he should be scratched for Toronto because that would be a few games, but I don't think. I think they're going to let him roll for a while. So that's the rookies. For those of you on the Odyssey podcast network, here is where I take a break. Now, I plan to only talk about the rookies for like 15 minutes. Ha, ha, ha. Dan got long-winded, and it's been like, 27 minutes. So here is where we take a break, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to talk about the team itself and if they are whistling past the graveyard. So hang on. Odyssey's going to pay some bills here in the No Pucks Given.
Prepare for an unforgettable night at the San Francisco Symphony. Karina Kanalakis conducts Prokofiev and Sibelius November 6th through 8th. Prokofiev's dazzling third piano concerto crackles with brilliance and drive, while Sibelius transforms myth and nature into a sweeping musical vision. From the energy of Prokofiev to the beauty of Sibelius, this program showcases orchestral music at its most thrilling. Experience Karina Kanalakis conducting Prokofiev and Sibelius November 6th through 8th. Tickets at sfsymphony.org.
Podcast to it. Whistling past the graveyard, so to speak. The Penguins have been outshot in their 13 games 9 times. They have been outchanced 8 of those 13 times. Interestingly, in terms of high danger chances, however, they have outchanced their opponents 7 times. So they're like 7-6. And I put this up on Pittsburgh Hockey Now Sunday evening, so I don't expect everyone to have seen it yet. But I went through the deeper numbers, although don't worry, it's not a numbers piece. This is more about the stories, and this is actually about Erik Karlsson's insights as well. I can't share the screen with you because I'm doing this in QuickTime, and I don't have all the functionality that I had with the other stuff, the other software, but the other software requires more bandwidth, and I just don't have it here at the hotel. So I asked Erik Karlsson that question. Look, you guys are getting outshot sometimes pretty heavily. Is that a concern? And he said, look, I think shots are sometimes very accurate in how a game was played. It can also be very misleading. I mean, I can take a lot of shots, but get nothing out of them. I think it's more about quality over quantity. I think that we are very good at quality managing our shots. Would we like to get a few more on that? Yeah, probably. It would give us a better chance to score more goals statistically. So, yes, as for giving up shots, I think that we're still trying to figure out a little bit how we defend and the way we want to defend. What a little nugget he just dropped in there, huh? Basically saying, well, yeah, we haven't really learned the system yet. We're still trying to figure all of this out, like who we want to be and how we want to do this. This is why I love talking to Erik Karlsson when he's in a good mood. And this was right after the practice in which he pranked Parker Wotherspoon by doing the chalk outline. Yeah, that's Erik Karlsson. And I thought that was really good. And I talked with Wotherspoon as well. And part of his quote was, I feel like we're limiting the quality. And when they do get quality chances, the goalies are doing a great job. For the most part, we've been doing a good job as a team. So the question I think you and I really need to look at, and maybe the Penguins management does as well, is this a short-term anomaly of a gelling team? Is this a flaw in their style? Is this sustainable? I think I said question. I should have said questions, right? Is this sustainable? And what comes next? Because the reality is, across all sports, be it football, basketball, baseball, hockey, there is generally a regression to the mean. Sure, a fourth-line guy can play like Sidney Crosby for a week. He can't do it for 36 weeks because he's not Sidney Crosby. And a team can get blitzed for a week and win some games. But that won't hold up because goalie, Tristan Jarry and Arturs Silovs are not going to maintain a .923 save percentage, which is what Tristan Jarry's stopper rate is as of right now. They're not going to maintain that if they are facing 40 shots, 35, 40 shots with a bevy of scoring chances. Or as Winnipeg did to the Penguins. And Dan Muse was really kind. I don't know if you caught Dan Muse's post-game following Winnipeg. Boy, he deleted parts of his sentences in the middle of the sentence. It was like he was cutting and pasting, a little bit of frustration or a little bit of blame right out of the sentence. And just kind of starting after he said what he really wanted to say. And I get it. He's not going to start calling guys out in the media. He told us that from the beginning, that he wants to be able to control the narrative for a lot of these players. He doesn't want them hearing it from us. He wants them to hear it from him. Fair enough, right? I will give a coach a pass if he's honest like that and says, I want to be the guy talking to them about their problems, not you. Fair enough. Now, there will come a time when he kind of starts saying, okay, this guy has to do this guy has to do that, because he's told them half a dozen times. And you let some public pressure build, but now isn't the time. The Penguins gave up a boatload of odd man chances against Winnipeg, really with poor puck management, compounded by poor decision making. Was it Harrison Brunick that jumped forward on one of them, and Chris Letang did, and it was just a rough go for the defenseman who had to make some really tough decisions on 50-50 pucks. That, they're programming themselves to be aggressive and then having to pull back. So that was one game. If it continues in Toronto, now we've got a trend, and now we start talking about that. The Winnipeg broadcast. I don't know if you read my report card after Winnipeg. The Winnipeg broadcast was just glorious. I watched the final 10 minutes in the media room because the game was decided. Even though the Penguins pulled within 4-2, the game was decided. I would love, and this is no slight on Pittsburgh Sportsnet, because no American broadcast treats hockey like the 7 broadcasts in Canada do. None of them treat it with the respect and the intricacy and the common explanations to make tactical play digestible. And within just a couple of sentences, the Winnipeg broadcasters showed how the Jets were getting around the Penguins 1-1-3 in the neutral zone, and getting around it on the weak side, just a little cross-ice pass at the right time, and boom, they were gone with speed into the offensive zone. I was like, damn, I didn't see that. I saw the speed. I saw the zone entries. But I didn't realize the little loop around to the weak side that they were doing. Dun, dun, dun. And I loved the fact that the TV broadcast did that. I don't know why American broadcast... Well, actually, I kind of do. And I don't know if I want to get off on a rant here. The American broadcasts are really dumbed down to the point of idiocy. And that's not Pittsburgh. That's every American hockey broadcast. They'd rather tell you about a player's family than show you the defenseman with the stick in the wrong hand, or the weak side comeback, the power play rim around to change the angles. All of these little things that teams game plan that American TV doesn't tell you or show you, and sometimes it's even difficult to see on television. I get it. I don't blame fans who, you have to really have grown up in hockey to spot this stuff. Lord knows I have a difficult enough time, and I'm watching for it. But I didn't grow up in hockey. I lean on some smart people. What can I say? Who sometimes make me look smart. That's it. I think we've done enough of a podcast. This is a 3 gigabyte podcast already, and 36 minutes. So are the Penguins whistling past the graveyard? And I hope that I moved the needle a little bit on the Harrison Brunick conversation. It's not just about the fact that he can't learn anything in juniors. Sending him to juniors might be protecting him. That can't be ignored. I think, based on Dan Muse's comments on Saturday, that the Penguins are leaning towards keeping Harrison Brunick, but that doesn't guarantee him a full season's ride. They could keep him into December, send him back to juniors for the World Juniors, and then let him play I don't know. Or actually, I guess they could send him to Team Canada for the World Juniors and recall him, sit him for a week, send him down to Wilkes-Barre on a conditioning assignment into January, then send him back to juniors because you have the Olympic break coming, and before you know it, it's March, and you can call him back again because his season, with any luck, would be ending. Who knows how that all plays out? I find it interesting and fascinating. That's it for me from Toronto. Hopefully the downtown isn't too depressed when we roll in Monday morning for the morning skate. But I hope you enjoy these. Like, subscribe, comment, argue.
Prepare for an unforgettable night at the San Francisco Symphony. Karina Kanalakis conducts Prokofiev and Sibelius November 6th through 8th. Prokofiev's dazzling third piano concerto crackles with brilliance and drive, while Sibelius transforms myth and nature into a sweeping musical vision. From the energy of Prokofiev to the beauty of Sibelius, this program showcases orchestral music at its most thrilling. Experience Karina Kanalakis conducting Prokofiev and Sibelius November 6th through 8th. Tickets at sfsymphony.org.
To tell me how to improve these. I do have a co-host coming. I have a co-host coming. Didn't get him on this week. Next week, I will unveil the brand new co-host. So I have someone to talk to. So I'm not sitting here for 40 minutes talking to myself. Then again, who are we kidding? I'll do the same thing anyway. All right. Have fun. Oh, and you know what? I guess we're going to do an addendum here to the podcast. I guess a part 2, because I forgot to get to the questions I asked for on X Sunday evening. Got some good ones, too. So I'm just going to dive straight into those. Go check out part 1 of the podcast. So here we go. From John Chergy, actually one of my original followers back when I literally was Bud Moonshine. JC was following me there on the fan. I think I had less than 1,000. I remember your name, John. Do I like Will Horkoff in Michigan? Well, yeah. I wrote him up pretty well. I glowed him up during rookie camp, obviously because he is a collegiate player, couldn't come to training camp, couldn't play in the preseason, couldn't play in the Prospects Challenge. So we didn't get a chance to see him after rookie camp in the first week of July, but I came away very impressed. He was rated in the 40s at the draft, and from what I saw, that was a gross underestimation of his talents. He is like 6'5". He's moving better from what I see. And Michigan has pretty good development. So, yeah, there's a lot to like there. From Dinosaur, not a question, but a consideration. This is a team that was expected to be bad and is now missing Raquel, Rutger McGroarty, 2 of their solid top 6, let alone Justin Brazeau, who'll be out day-to-day. We shouldn't reasonably expect them to be decent. Hollander and Tomasino, both in the top 6, is expectedly bad. I don't know if Hollander is bad in the top 6. I don't, we talked about in part 1, he's maybe not making a big enough impact, but he's at least holding his own. Tomasino had some moments against Winnipeg. I don't want to sell him entirely short. There's something to his game. In a sense, I get what Kyle Dubas sees. I also see that Tomasino can just vanish for a long period of time. And I don't mean for shifts, I mean for games. So, in addition to, Tomasino, yes, has some problems. I don't know if missing Ricard Raquel should wreck your team. But Dinosaur does ask, how do I feel about all of the load management and playing 4 lines pretty consistently? It is good when the Penguins have a playable 4th line, like right now, but the depth is quickly falling apart. Oh, I don't know that the depth is falling apart. The 3rd lines were really good against Winnipeg. There's a pair of lines, both with after Dan Muse began juggling the lines, trying to find something to give the team a spark. Hollander, Kindle, and Koivunen. I think, had 4 high danger scoring chances and 6 scoring chances overall without allowing any. And that was in like 4 minutes. Now, the other third line, which was Novak, Kindle, and Koivunen, I think they also had 4 scoring chances in like 6 or 7 minutes and allowed 1. So that line was really good. I don't know that the depth is the problem. I do think regressing to the mean is going to be a bit of an issue with the team. Rich here says not so much last game, but the previous 2, which would have been Minnesota, Philadelphia. Muse decided to leave power play 1 out there for nearly the duration, including in OT. I can't understand this thought process, especially when he has been diligent about spreading minutes otherwise. Maybe more of a statement as opposed to a question. No, Rich, I know what you're thinking, but don't look for problems to the solution. The Penguins' power play is bubbling between like 5th and 1st in the league. If they get a power play goal, they're back to 1st. If they miss, they're back to 5th. Let's call it a 30% power play. So if Dan Muse wants to roll power play 1 out there for most of 2 minutes, let him do it. It's all about the goal, not about the ice time. Dro has a question that a couple of people actually favorited and wanted me to address. That's always a good sign, right? Other people like your question. Dro says, what impact have the assistant coaches had on the team? I will tell you that assistant coaches in the Penguins organization do not talk to the media. Now, one of them is quite friendly and, walking through the hallways, say hello. And every now and then you kind of get a word or two, in the right situation. Hey, what about this? What about that? But there's not a whole lot that we get a chance to talk to the assistant coaches. So I can't necessarily give you a lot of specifics. I can tell you that the penalty kill has been really up and down. So that's, when it's good, they really do stack the blue line and they're aggressive. When they're not, they're just caved in. So that's Mike Stothers. Then you've got Todd Nelson on the power play. Well, look how that's doing. So I think overall, from what I see, there's a lot of assistant coaches, by the way. In addition to Stothers and Nelson, you also have Nick Bonino. Andy Chiodo is around quite a bit. Rich Clune is, right there with him. So they really have 6 guys, kind of just always around the bench, always around the team, coaching up and so on and so forth. So I can't speak to all of their impacts. I do think it was intentional, Dro, to have that many coaches because, like Nick Bonino, he will go on the ice, he grabs Ben Kindle, and they go work on face-offs. They'll just knock out 100, and Kindle is just bringing them back, pulling the puck back, pulling it back, and that's what he's working on that day. Or he's working on taking it to the wall, to his left, and they just do that in like fast repetition almost every day. Those are the things I think the assistant coaches are doing. So I wish I had a better answer, but I hope that helps a little bit. The assistant coaches will be defined by the special teams and I think a little bit by the progression of some of the rookies, although I don't think, I suppose, well, I guess we'll leave it at that. And is that the last one already? Oh, no, here's Anthony. This is the one I wanted to get to as well. What's the biggest improvement Erik Karlsson has made this season under Dan Muse? Boy, that's a really good sort of question there. Boy, where to begin on that one? Erik Karlsson is playing a responsible game. I tend to think that's more motivation not Dan Muse's system. He is playing fast. He's playing with the puck. I think the small group puck support suits him because his posse is flying with him in the flying V. And what I mean by that is he's not making these big stretch passes where he lets go of the puck and then has to skate 100 feet to join the play. No, he's building speed out of his own zone with the puck. Now he's in control. I think he likes that very much. Or at least he likes it better. I have asked him that question a couple of times. Like, hey, system's different, how's your game different? He hasn't wanted to get into that in any great detail. I understand, because he is smart enough to know whatever he says can and will be used against him or somebody else. The closest thing he did was, he said, well, how much he likes the puck support aspect rather than the stretch passes. I understand that. That's an obvious sort of statement that nobody can get mad at. So he can say that. I also think there is a motivational factor. Look, he wants to play in the Olympics. He's not stupid. His former coach rips him to shreds before the Four Nations tournament last year, and he plays some of the best hockey he's played in a long time. Comes back to Pittsburgh, and he doesn't. He knows people saw that. Erik Karlsson is one of the smartest guys in that room, or most aware. Maybe he's self-aware. Even as he got ripped a little bit last year for saying, "Yeah, I played great. What of it?" He knew he just wasn't going to give the media the satisfaction of kicking himself in front of everybody. What else is Erik Karlsson doing differently? The power play is about 10 times faster. Yeah, they have their moments when he and Malkin play catch the top of the zone, and even I want to yell down, shoot! They got their moments. But they're getting the puck to the net. You're seeing deflections. You're seeing greasy goals. That goal that Sidney Crosby technically scored on Saturday against Winnipeg, that goal cracked me up because that was Erik Karlsson's goal. I saw it before it happened. I saw Karlsson's eyes. I could see his head looking exactly what to do. I could see Sidney Crosby sort of straighten up, knowing what was coming. Those two were like talking to each other telepathically even before the puck got to Karlsson, and I saw Karlsson do it. And I'm like, oh no. I mean, Karlsson let loose a slap shot. I'm not talking 85 mile an hour, get it to the net sort of clapper. I'm talking about get the wood off the ice and drive your weight through it for all you're worth and blast it to the net. Except he didn't blast it to the net. Nope. Erik Karlsson shot it at Sidney Crosby. And Crosby knew it was coming and used his body to... I don't know if Crosby actually got the stick on it or just his body. It all happened so quick, but I saw it coming. I'm like, and even I kind of sat up like, he's going to do it. He did it. The power play points and the power play success isn't just a statistical, isn't just ink on a score sheet. It's confidence. It's camaraderie. It's feeling good. It's feeling better. And I think all of those things I've just enumerated begin to give Erik Karlsson momentum. They give you the feel-goods. And when you got the feel-goods, you play better. So he is playing better because in addition to all of the things I've just talked about, he actually is getting back in the defensive zone. He's never going to rattle a guy off the glass. That's not his game. And good Lord, he doesn't weigh enough where it would hurt. But what he does, Mike Sullivan, I thought, had the best description of Erik Karlsson in the D zone when he said, he's hockey strong. Watch the little plays Erik Karlsson will make just around the scrum or, the wall plays. Watch him just turn a guy. Just a little boop. And the guy, and the opponent will just turn ever so slightly and now loses the puck battle. Those little things, whether Carlson takes it or a teammate takes it, those little things mean a lot because now you have possession. And especially in the defensive zone, that puck is probably coming to Erik Karlsson, who now has the authority, the ability, the willingness, the space, the authorization, go. That's what Erik Karlsson is doing. And that is part 2 of the podcast. Actually, I found this a lot more entertaining than the first part. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, make sure you set your downloads. And that is it from the Toronto hotel room on the Pittsburgh Hockey Now platforms. I think I'm Dan Kingerski. Have fun.
Prepare for an unforgettable night at the San Francisco Symphony. Karina Kanalakis conducts Prokofiev and Sibelius November 6th through 8th. Prokofiev's dazzling third piano concerto crackles with brilliance and drive, while Sibelius transforms myth and nature into a sweeping musical vision. From the energy of Prokofiev to the beauty of Sibelius, this program showcases orchestral music at its most thrilling. Experience Karina Kanalakis conducting Prokofiev and Sibelius November 6th through 8th. Tickets at sfsymphony.org.